Okay, so we started these notes the other day, and we are continuing on the bottom half of the page today. So we're down here. And what we had the other day were we had numbers, I already have them highlighted, and these numbers had opposite signs the other day, and today they don't. So here's our statement and our comment for right in the middle of the page. If you have the same number, but not opposite signs, remember that was our goal, you have to have opposite signs. And we also said we were going to make opposite signs and numbers by multiplication. Well, how can you do that? We can do that by multiplying by a -1. So if you have the same sign or the same number but not opposite signs, then we will multiply the top equation by -1 and rewrite the new equation below the second original equation. Let's do that with the first one and we'll see what happens. So what I want you to do here is I want you to take the entire first equation, we'll get rid of this 3 out front, and we'll multiply by a -1. So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute that to all three numbers. So when you multiply a -1 times a positive 3x, we get a -3x. -1 times positive 6y gives you a -6y. And then don't forget to do the number on the other side of the equal sign. So we have equals. -1 times 6 is -6. Now we have our two values that are the same numbers with opposite signs. So now do all steps from the top of the page of the notes. We'll just put from the top of the notes. So 1 through 4. Okay, so we're going to draw a line under here and add down. We're going to go 4x minus 3x gives us a 1x. These cancel each other out. -2 minus 6 is a -8. And we don't really need this 1 here, or you can divide by the 1 if you really would like to do that. And we get x equals -8. Remember, we're then going to plug that into one of these two equations. So I'm going to take 3x plus 6y equals 6. I'm going to plug the x into the equation. So 3 times -8 plus 6y equals 6. Well, that's a -24. And then I'm going to add a 24 to that to offset that -24. So the 24s will cancel. And then we have a 6y equals a 30. And to solve, we're going to divide by 6, and we get y equals 5. Remember, you're always going to finish with your ordered pair, -8, +5. Okay, so let's do that again over here on the right-hand side. We're going to take the first equation, again, get rid of the number here that we don't really need, and we're going to multiply times a -1. So we're going to distribute that to all of these and then write it underneath this first one. So a -5x minus a 2y equals a -19. Draw a line, and we're going to add down. Okay, so the 5x's are going to cancel. We have a -1y minus a y, so that's a -3y equals -2 minus 19, -21. Divide both sides here by -3, and y equals negative divided by a negative is a positive. Don't forget your signs, they're super important. So we have y equals 7. All right, my next step, rewrite one of the original equations. So I'm going to go with my top one because it's got a lot of positives in it. It's got all positives in it. And we're substituting for the y. So 5x plus 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. I'm going to subtract off of 14. And divide by 5. And x equals 1. And again, my ordered pair here is 1, 7. Okay? And then just that note at the bottom, remember you can always check by plugging your answers back in and making sure that they work. All right? So that's how you're going to do these if you have the same numbers but not opposite signs. Just multiply the entire problem by a -1. So multiply the top equation by a -1. So that's what's happening here. Okay, that's the key in that whole statement. Multiply the top equation by -1. All righty, toodaloo.